So Jamie, NAFTA went away. And then USMCA came in, and there's things happening. It's different. Is that correct? Different world now, kind of?
It's a little bit of a different world, I would say.
Maybe you could touch on this.
Yeah, so NAFTA was the de facto free trade agreement between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, the North American Free Trade Agreement. That was replaced by the U.S.-Mexican-Canada Agreement, USMCA, or as they call it, CUSMA in Canada. CUSMA. So they've changed the acronyms around a little bit based off the country, but for the U.S., it's USMCA. And it has been used for years and has been a great program. However, under these IEEPA tariffs in particular, there's a lot of companies that are leveraging this USMCA exemption to avoid those tariffs, which is great, and it's perfectly allowable under the regulations. But because companies are avoiding so much of those tariffs with these programs, now the government is actually scrutinizing more than they ever have before. So anytime they're not getting their money in their pocket, they want to know why. And that's something that's been, there is a revenue protection focus of the government right now that hasn't existed really since September 11. We've really almost gone back to the days customs used to be part of the revenue generating, side of the business under the Treasury. It's moved to Homeland Security, kind of focused more on security for a long time, but now we're seeing that kind of return of revenue concerns because it's billions of dollars.
I can understand the motivation there on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are companies failing? Like, where's the trouble coming up?
I think the problem that they're failing is that under the previous administration, you would just put on there if your goods are coming from Canada and you did some assembly, you'd put country of origin Canada, put out a USMCA certificate. It was simple, and nobody really reviewed it that actively. What we're seeing now is that companies are receiving CF-28s and 29s, which are the inquiries and decisions from the government, where they're questioning the validity of that USMCA claim. So if they're looking at your product and they think, well, we're not sure that enough substantial transformation or enough work was done within the US, Canada, Mexico to actually meet those rules of origin requirements, they're starting to ask questions. And if they don't believe your answers or don't feel like your answers are robust enough, they are charging you plus interest, plus penalties for failing to follow through with the program the way that you should be.
So what do companies have to be doing? Just make sure they're doing everything according to the...
Yeah, this is a very unpleasant topic to bring up, and I hate to say it, but the only way to make sure that you're doing it right is do a validation. So you can't just simply trust your supplier if they hand you a USMCA certificate. You can't accept that as the silver bullet truth. You have to go back and do some validation of that. It's collecting documents from your supplier to prove that they actually did that work. What does a bill of material look like? What does their manufacturing process look like? And being able to produce all those documentations, because that's what customs is asking for. They want to see purchase orders. They want to see bills of materials. They want to see proof of payment. They want to see the manufacturing process. They even want to see pictures of the manufacturing process. That's what they're expecting in these audits. And if you don't provide all of that information, penalties are coming.
Now, Jamie, in terms of your company, Vigilant, I mean, how do you guys get involved in helping with this?
Yeah, again, this goes back to the, one of our core services is entry audits and reviewing things like tariff classification and things like country of origin and those free trade agreements to make sure that you have followed all the required regulations and you have that documentation to be prepared for those instances. So we provide those services, and anything that we don't do, we definitely have partners or can refer you to someone else that can help you with that. But this is becoming more and more critical, and I think will become even more critical moving forward.